Greetings, good evening. Welcome to the third place. It's been a long week. 5 grueling days of work, or if you're the type of person that does overtime. Not anymore, I say. It's Friday night. Time to chill. Time to relax and hang out and learn some stuff. Let's switch on over, shall we? Whip. Hello, greetings, welcome. Hope everyone is doing well. Let me see what else I've got in the old music bee. I have so many Patricia Taxon albums because they are free and because as long as you say you credit the artist, she's chill with people using music. At least that was the last update I read on her Bandcamp. Getting yelled at for being in my phone. I told them it was you they were hearing, and suddenly they're okay with it. Hello, Mini and Micro. Uncle Proxy says hello. Let me find something fun to put on in the background. Punk is a really good album, but we're gonna have to just have a stream sometime of going through my music collection. It's like this, it's so good. I do need to hit you with this one, Static, really quick, just because of, Okay, guys. Just the intro bit here. Hello here. This is a song by Taylor Swift.
You've got mail.
Oh, thank you for the sub. Actually, I might be at the end of the song, the thing I'm thinking of. Hang on. Uh-huh.
Okay, guys, so that's it. And that's all. StartPage signing out. Beep!
Yeah, that. This is a song by Taylor Swift. Do we have something that's just like melodic? I think Bicycle might be. Trying to find something good to pop in the background here. It's not going to get me copyright stricken. Actually, Tech Dog might be the better option.
What the fuck is going on?
Really good question, Static. Nobody really knows. Oh no, actually I know what I'm going for. I'm going for Mayhem. This is exactly what I was initially going to try and avoid by using Night Ride FM. Mayhem? I know you're in here. There you are. But you know what? Just gonna turn that down so it chills in the background. Also, you sound real quiet. Do I again? Hang on. I'm monitoring myself. Let me check and make sure Windows hasn't made any weird adjustments. It's just gonna be a thing every week. It could also just be that I'm not close enough to my mic. Yeah, I know we're at 91. I'm just too far from my mic. Is this any better? Because it sounds good to me. I can bring it up some. But this sounds good to me listening to the monitor. How does it sound to you? Sound good. Okay, cool. Also, we're going to view visualizer in case I bring this back up later. Now, y'all can appreciate my wallpaper. Goodness knows I do. And they're all here because we never fired the cannon. I'm gonna empty my recycle bin because that's what y'all came here for. And I'm gonna stop listening to myself because that is awful. Sound good. Yay! Excellent. Oh, memories. Yeah. This is one of the things I love about live capturing the desktop is that as I'm changing and shifting themes for my live wallpapers throughout the year and for the holidays and whatnot, the only canon is the no canon. Correct. So, y'all get to enjoy the weird wallpapers that I put up as time goes on. So, tonight, welcome to it. We're going to start with LibreWolf, the browser you're most likely used to seeing. Move this a little bit. Welcome in. I am curious. Gotta wonder if a genocide run of that game is possible. I don't want to know. Nope. Not something I've ever thought to look up. And I think I'll continue not doing that. Because I'm frickin' pack bonded with all of those children, and they're all gonna go on to lead long and happy lives. And that's the only way it is. Anyway, out of curiosity, what do you guys mainline for, like, what is your browser of choice? In 2 locations. So, 1, what is your browser of choice when you're on PC, on a desktop or a laptop setup? And what is your browser of choice when you're on mobile? And if your answer to either of those is Safari, which MacBook and or iPhone do you own? That actually has no relevance to the question. It's just I don't know if I've ever known anyone to be like, yeah, actually, I run Linux, but I installed Safari. Safari sometimes by mistake. I think Safari is built on WebKit. We'll get into that here in a little bit. I might have to look that one up. I am really not familiar with Safari because I don't use it unless I'm forced to. So I got a Firefox. Dishes time. My browser of choice is Firefox on PC, Firefox on mobile. That is fantastic. Same, Edge pals. Edge if I have to for work. I actually don't use Edge at work. Everyone else in my organization is required to. Me and maybe one other employee have been granted access to alternative browsers. Both because I need to be able to do testing on print solutions from different browsers, but also because I just really don't like Edge. It keeps crashing on me. It uses way too much RAM, and it has Copilot built in. Remember when Microsoft really asked people, how much did you edge last year? Oh my god, Microsoft wants to know how you edge. I should have put together a compilation of just funny shit that browser companies have said on, like, Twitter. Because you've also got the Firefox one, where they were jumped in on the, the GIF versus GIF battle, and they were like, maybe it's pronounced YIF, and everyone was like, Firefox, no! Anyway, this is LibreWolf. LibreWolf is a fork off of Firefox. For those that are not terribly familiar with Git and how that all functions, that's basically just saying that Firefox is the main source project. Someone went, I'm going to take Firefox, I'm going to strip a lot of the stuff out of it, make it what I want it to be, and then re-release it under a different name. And that's essentially what a fork is, because Firefox is open source. So anyone can go in, take the source code, do what they want to it, and then pop a web browser out based on that. LibreWolf is that. It is heavily privacy focused. So if we look under settings, you got a bunch of general stuff. A lot of settings are on by default in LibreWolf. Let's just go under system privacy. So like strict protections are on. I've allowed it to apply exceptions. And even with both of these exceptions being on, there are still times, like for example, let me bring up cyberspace.online. So Cyberspace Online, my potentially favorite social platform at the moment. Let me reboot that, hang on. There's been so much going on with this. We'll get into that at the end of the stream if we have time. But the grid, I don't believe... yeah, no, it's not going to. So you've seen me run the grid. It's where I collect mushrooms. It does not load in LibreWolf. I thought this was an issue with one thing and tried messing around with it. It don't work. It no worky, too secure. Sorry, that sucks. So, this is LibreWolf. It is locked down Firefox for your privacy. It's a great browser. Great browser, lightweight. It can take extensions and themes from the Firefox store. So, if you've got stuff you want on Firefox and you want it over in LibreWolf, you can do that. But that's essentially what this is. So tonight I'm going to cover 4 different browsers. I need to change the music because this is throwing me off. I'm sorry, Mayhem. We actually are, I think, going to I'm gonna pause that. I'm going to minimize you, and we're going to bring up Firefox so I can get nightride.fm because I need something that's just rhythmic beats. You know what I mean? Station. Let's go data wave. I'm so sorry about your ears. But for what it's worth, mine too. Okay, cat's fed and I have food and I am here. Hello, welcome in. Alright, bring that back down. So tonight I want to talk about when we talk about privacy and data privacy online, which, to quote Firewalls Don't Stop Dragons host, privacy is a we thing, not a me thing. How I handle my privacy affects everyone that I interact with. Search rhythmic beats, result grandma's bed at 11 p.m. Oh no. It's not arthritic beats, static. It's rhythmic. Train of thought completely derailed. So yeah, when we're talking about data privacy, or when I present data privacy to people, there are the 3 big things that I think people can shift in order to make a huge difference in their privacy online. And they are relatively simple things. One of which is changing the web browser that you're using. Press 1 in chat if you, for whatever reason, mainline the Chrome web browser, like actual Google Chrome. And it's okay if you do. I'm only going to judge you a little. But also, that's kind of like everyone's default. A lot of people's default. I shouldn't say everyone. I heard a we issue, and I was gonna hard disagree that privacy was a we issue. Oh, no. No, it's a we issue, not a me issue. It's an important distinction. Because there's kind of like a, oh, well, you know, my privacy only affects me, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Like, I don't care if everyone has my data. But what if someone were to get a hold of your address book, let's say? How many people's phone numbers did you just give out? And think about how many apps ask for connections to your contacts. Oh, did you want to find friends on LinkedIn? Let me look at all your contacts. Did you want to find friends on Facebook? Let me look through your contacts. And we just go ahead and do it because, you know, who doesn't want to know when their friends are on something? A weak link breaks a chain. It's true. So browsers are one of the big ones because this is your connection to the World Wide Web. Whether you're on your phone or whether you're on your desktop, this is essentially your, to quote Cyberpunk Librarian, your operating system for the internet. He always jokes around saying, my favorite operating system is Firefox. We do so much on the web now that a lot of things are done in web apps. If you're someone who uses like Google Docs, that's done on the cloud. You access it through a web browser or the app, depending on if you're that person. Or if you have the app on like your phone, because goodness knows it's impossible to edit a sheet if you're not in the app. So I want to talk about 4 main web browsers. LibreWolf is by far the most strict out of the 4 that I want to touch on. We clink. We would like to clink. So LibreWolf is probably the most strict. This is the like, you're a couple steps away from just using Tor for everything. Tor is not a browser I'm going to cover this evening. I'll touch on it a little bit. just so you can have an idea of Tor's functionality and place in the browser world. Tor is kind of like incognito mode, but super incognito mode. Incognito mode in most browsers is just going to remove things like cross-site tracking, fingerprinting your browser, and it's not going to save any history. So when you close out of an incognito mode window, everything's gone. Tor, or the Onion router, does a completely different connection. We're actually, you know what we're going to do? Hang on. It's time for Proxy's School of MS Paint. Let's do red. I like red. And we need to make sure we've got a thick enough pen going on. Yeah, that'll do.
Get in the water. Wait. Get in the water. Stop this, please. Get in the water.
Thank you. I needed that hydration real bad. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little guy over here. I'm not sorry about my terrible art. Here's you. This is you. You're a happy little person. You're just a happy little guy, and you want to get to the internet, which is just going to be a big bubbly sort of cloud-looking thing. The internet. I have a drawing tablet. I'm not going to get it for this. So here's the internet, and here's you, and you have to use your web browser to get there. This is your spiral web browser. I'm not an artist, and I never claimed to be. So here's your browser, and your browser, you want to get to the internet, and generally your browser is going to go, and it's going to talk to, we're going to put a big C here. This is Comcast. Except it's not, it's Cramcast, because we don't want to get sued. This is your internet provider. Hopefully it's not Cramcast. And then they go out and they go to the internet and they browse back and forth and they communicate between you and your web browser. And then you get stuff. So now Cramcast knows the things that you're browsing. They're your service provider. You go, hey, can you go get me a thing? And it goes and gets the thing. Like if you send a friend to go grocery shopping, they know what you bought because they brought stuff. Tor, which I'm trying to remember what the Tor logo looks like. It's like a half an onion type deal. Close enough. This is Tor. And what Tor is going to do is the Onion router does a 3-hop security. So we're just going to say 1, 2, 3. And it goes hop to node number 1, hop to node number 2, hop to node number 3, and then node number 3 goes to the internet and gets you what you're looking for. And then it's like a game of telephone, and it relays it back to you. Excuse me. Node number 1 knows what you're looking for and who you are. It knows where it's going to and what to tell it. Node 2 only knows node 1 is where it's coming from, node 3 is where it's going to, and node 3 only knows that 2 and the internet. So each one only knows one more to its adjacent sides. And that's kind of the brilliance behind this, is in order to track what's going on here back to you, you need to compromise not one node, not 2 nodes, but 3 separate connections at 3 separate points on the internet. And there's so much traffic going through all this. This kind of looks like a toaster. I'm just gonna toaster with a strudel. But that's what makes Tor so vastly different from any other web browser and why it's used for browsing dark web, deep web. And that's why that's its own whole thing. We're not going to touch on that this evening. The last thing, since we're already in education mode anyway, the other thing you've probably played with Tor years ago when I was dabbling in the dark web. Can you use Tor for yeah, you can use Tor for the surface web. The only thing, and the reason why most people are not going to recommend that you use Tor for things on the clear web, is this number of hops. This is going to slow everything down, because now you're not hey, I need pictures of an ant farm. And it goes, pictures of an ant farm. Got it. Bing, bang, bing. And then you're like, I need pictures of an ant farm. And it's like, pictures of an ant farm, pictures of an ant farm, pictures of an ant farm, pictures of an ant farm. Here's some pictures of an ant farm. Here's some pictures of an ant farm. Here's some pictures of an ant. You see what I mean? It's slower. And in a lot of cases, it can be noticeably slower. So that's my short Tor explanation. The only variance you should see here is we're going to put a V right here. This is a VPN. This is the thing that every YouTuber wants you to get because it'll let you watch Netflix from another country, which is not the best use of a VPN. Actually, I'll just put VPN. There we go. What a VPN is going to do is act as a go-between. Here you are. So instead of going and asking your network provider, and I'm a little bit oversimplifying here, but instead of asking your network provider, hey, can you supply me with pictures of bighamsters.com? And then it going out and being like, oh, this person likes big hamsters, also called guinea pigs. I'm going to go ahead and catalog that and write that amongst your bunch of interests that I have written down so I know what to sell you. You're going, hey, Mr. VPN, can you hit the internet for me and get me pictures of big hamsters? And then it goes out and it comes back. So all you're doing is shifting the trust. I don't think anyone out there is like, oh yeah, you know who I trust? My ISP. Those guys are so great. So going straight through like this, you're just sending all that information through your ISP. But by using a VPN, you're shifting the responsibility and the trust over to whoever your VPN provider is. Which is why it's a little saddening when everyone's just like, oh, we just use a VPN. This was a big deal for me, realizing as someone who was a former Google fanboy, buying a Pixel 8 Pro when they dropped, and realizing that, oh, Google provides a free VPN service, which is fantastic because it does solve a lot of problems of routing through, connect to the coffee shop's Wi-Fi, and then my phone is just sending all that data to the coffee shop's Wi-Fi and ISP, and it can be grabbed on the go-between, whereas sending information encrypted to my VPN, much more secure. Great, awesome, that's cool. But then you have to realize that I've just shifted the trust and responsibility for my information from my big ISP to Google. Which I guess really only matters if you're concerned about Google knowing the everything and everything about you, from being able to spy on you from, as Cory Doctorow would say, from asshole to appetite. I love that phrase. Anyway, that's your quick history, or quick lesson on the very, very basics of network communications between you and the internet. It's way more complicated than that, but that's my short tour. Anyway, so the browser is the end that faces you. We've just went over LibreWolf. The main things you're going to want to look for when you are working on shifting a browser or getting used to a new browser, trying something out, is your settings. Always know where your settings are and take some time to poke through them, because LibreWolf is not the best example for this because it is really stripped down, and it's really stripped down Firefox, which is already pretty stripped down by comparison. You can customize all sorts of stuff, which is nice, but it's in the privacy and security that you really want to be able to poke around. Website privacy preferences. Tell websites not to share or sell my data. This is something that is kind of, I think, still experimental going on. This is one of those things that has a lot more weight in the state of California, because I'm pretty sure that's when you see those, like, if you live in the state of California, you have the right for us to delete your data and not track you. That I believe is part of this, but this sends a no tracking cookie. I believe that was this, unless I come across a ask not to track somewhere down the line. But that's what that is. Most browsers have that option now, and I would turn that on regardless, even if you're not in California, because some websites are just going to go, this is just going to be easier. So if we get the message of, hey, don't track me from a web browser, we'll honor it. And there's plenty of websites that don't, but do the things that you can do. Cookies and site data. I have a very particular way of handling my cookies and site data. Cookies are the great invention of, I went to a website and I want that website to be able to know who I am to such an extent that if I'm shopping on that website and I leave the website or navigate to a different page, it hasn't lost track of everything that I was doing because it knows that I'm the same person. There's a really, really good video from Reject Convenience, not modernity, Reject Convenience on YouTube about that, and it's worth a watch. It's a much more in-depth explanation. But the short of it is there's maybe 5 or 6 websites that I'm using that I want to remember who I am. Things I don't want to have to log into that I'm visiting frequently. So Reddit, hang on, I'm going to bring this over out of screen for a second, see if there's anything over here that's going to be disruptive to my well-being. No. Okay. So what I've done is I've gone in and I've said, okay, so for the following websites, these guys can have persistent cookies until I clear them. For everything else, every other website that I go to, you clear all the cookies and browsing history when I close the web browser. So every time I have one that I want to stay logged in on, I missed the tour. Aw, you did a little bit, Raw. That's okay. You can go back in the VOD. I didn't leave my art up, unfortunately, so you will have to go back in the VOD to see it, but it was a fun time. So this is my whitelist of, I go to a website a lot, cyberfirst.social is my Mastodon, cyberspace.online. I don't want to have to log back in every time. Some people do. Maybe that's your level of privacy, but nah, not me. I whitelist a handful of websites and everything else can just forget I was ever there. I do want to touch on this. This is something I would recommend in any web browser. Tor is like that scene from Spies Like Us. Doctor. I don't think I've seen that. Passwords and autofill in web browsers. We're gonna have a sit down talk, you and I, right now. Please, for all that is holy, stop having your web browser remember your passwords. If the web browser, regardless of which web browser you're using, if your web browser is compromised, saved passwords, autofill, if you have it remembering payment information, shipping addresses, any of that information can be compromised from within your web browser. I'm sure a lot of web browsers are encrypting this stuff, and everyone's doing their best to try and keep your shit private and secure. I will never trust my web browser. My web browser needs to be like a hut that I can set up and tear down in a moment's notice. I need to be able to completely nuke my browser and then rebuild it anywhere else in any other service at a moment's notice. That's the only way that I'm going to feel secure in my browsing. I particularly like when I have to repeatedly turn off all of Microsoft's AI crap every single week on multiple computers because it just doesn't remember that I don't want that shit. That's Microsoft be invasive that way. One of the many reasons I don't enjoy them very much. But yeah, I would recommend against having your browser save passwords. Get yourself a password manager. We'll talk about that a little bit more once we get to the section on extensions, because we are going to get into extensions and stuff, because there's some stuff to talk about there. History, I have mine clear my history when LibreWolf closes, except for it's remembering the cookies for certain websites, so I stay logged in, essentially. Fuck Copilot. And also fuck Copilot, yes. But this is all a lot of stuff that's going to be personal to you, whether you want it to clear your history, remember your history, whether you want to enable HTTPS only mode for all Windows, which I do. And then level of protection. I'm not going to dig too deep into all of these. It's mostly just make sure you pop into your settings, go through things, see what you have control over, see what it's doing for things. Search engine is part 2 of the 3 major things that I recommend people shift in order to maintain privacy online in the easiest way possible. Navigating away from Chrome into any other web browser is a great start. But that only does so much if you're still going to go ask Google for all of the things you want anyway. There are a lot of really good alternative search engines out there now. The 2 big ones that I've used, DuckDuckGo and StartPage. And I'm pretty sure StartPage just scrapes Bing and Google. It's sort of like a VPN for your search where you go, hey, StartPage, show me pictures of big hamsters. And StartPage goes to its own anonymous Google and Bing instances and is like, hey, big hamsters, asking for a friend. And then they don't need to know who. They don't need to know any more than that. I've been using DuckDuckGo just because it's been around a hot minute. And yeah, it's legit. Firefox lets you choose it by default, which is what I have. Most browsers are going to give you this now, where you can choose a search engine by default. And I highly recommend doing so. That's all of my spiel for LibreWolf. All my bookmarks up here. We're going to touch on bookmarks in a minute here because I'll touch on it now just because I'm going to bring that up as we're moving across browsers anyway. Bookmarks are one of those things that I want to be able to bring with me once I've nuked my browser and set up somewhere else. I don't like when I switched to DuckDuckGo as a search engine and it still was giving me AI results that I had to turn off twice. Yeah, that is a little bit why I was using StartPage for a while. Even with the AI features, because I know DuckDuckGo is trying to do them privately, doesn't change that it's AI. But I appreciate the attempt at privacy and anonymity. Also, that clip is so funny. I am almost certain my stepdad has referenced that scene before. Bookmarks. Bookmarks are one of those things, if you're using Chrome or you're using, pretty much Chrome or Firefox are like the 2 mainline people know about these, then you probably got yourself a bunch of bookmarks. I got a bunch of bookmarks, like all my gaming stuff, things that I'm shopping for, social platforms, furry stuff, tools. The tools is the one that goes real hard because I've got like hacker related tools and that goes on forever. Education, so on and so forth. But these, you can sign into your browser and it will sync to the cloud and you'll be able to just take your bookmarks wherever, it's an option. If you're comfortable doing that, you can do that. But for anyone that's in the same paranoid hole that I'm in, of like, what if I want to make sure that even if the cloud goes down, if something should happen and like Mozilla just ceases to exist tomorrow, how do I get my bookmarks back? And you can just go in bookmarks, manage bookmarks, drag the window over where everyone can see it, and there's an option here for import and backup. Hitting that drop down, backup, or export bookmarks to HTML is my preferred method, because all that's going to do is take them all, export them into an HTML file that you can put on your whatever cloud storage service you use, or thumb drive in the closet, or your backup hard drive, wherever you want to store it. And that HTML is going to be universally readable across every other browser you go to. I export my bookmarks anytime I make major changes to them. That way I've got a file to work with in the event that, again, my computer crashes, or I've lost my browser, or I've needed to nuke it for some reason and start fresh. I can bring back all of my bookmarks and know where stuff's at. If Firefox got sent to church camp and came back gay. So to summarize, LibreWolf is Firefox if it got sent to the gulag, but like the gulag was a good thing? A little bit. LibreWolf is like paranoid Firefox without any of the telemetry or tracking. It's all the telemetry and tracking completely removed, not even an option. So let's actually migrate from LibreWolf into Firefox, which is my new daily driver, because I like Firefox, and as I can show you, Cyberspace Online. I need to log in. Bear with me a moment, because I just got this set up like yesterday. I need the email, and I need password. Okay. So, cyberspace, back to the grid, back to Dungeon and Garden. All of the things in the background that I had thought was gotta go to Chromium to do this, it functions fine in Firefox, because Firefox is not as paranoid as LibreWolf. So it's nice to be able to use a browser that is not Chromium based. All right, and we are gonna close out of that before it gets ridiculous. So it's nice to use a browser that's not Chromium based. I like Tinfoil Hat Firefox more. Yeah. Tinfoil Hat Firefox is essentially what LibreWolf is. So if we go back into our settings, and this is in mainline Firefox, you'll notice there's a lot more stuff going on over here. I can sign in to sync things. I'm not a fan of doing that. If that's something that you like, cool, go for it. Profiles, I haven't started messing with yet, and it's not something that I have to set up for LibreWolf. My privacy and security I run mostly the same way, where browsing data gets cleared. I have exceptions. History is not saved. Never remember my history. Excuse me. A bunch of things as far as appearance goes, and I'm trying to remember where. So search. So show search terms in the address bar on results page. I've just straight up turned off Google, Amazon, Bing, eBay. If I wanted to search these things, well, I say these things, but like if I wanted to be searching Amazon or searching eBay, I'm going to the dang website. I don't need my browser to have a little Amazon doodle going on in here. Home and startup. I went through most of this yesterday as I was getting it situated, and I'm trying to remember where everything's at. So AI controls, you can just straight up block AI enhancements, which I really appreciate as an option. So that just straight up anything on device AI blocked. So a handful of web browsers now will do on device AI, where they will essentially download a lightweight LLM onto your computer and do whatever processing locally they can to enhance things. If that's your jam, then cool. But not really my jam. Not something I'm looking for. The fewer AIs that have anything on me, the better. I'm trying to restrict that as much as possible. Under permissions and data, I believe this is where I was looking. There is a section for Firefox data collection and use. A lot of this stuff is enabled by default, which is part of a lot of people's problem when it comes to Firefox, is a lot of the telemetry and the things that are there to make life more convenient for you, quote unquote, but are really just building profiles and sending advertisers information, is by default enabled. Send technical and integration data to Mozilla. That's just sending things back to Mozilla about your system. Things like, allow them to run feature studies. So like, what kind of hardware am I running? How would this thing work for me? Like surveying your system, essentially. Allow personalized extension recommendations. No, I don't need you to take information about me and put it all into a ball and go, you know what? You'd probably like the honey extension. You'd like to scam most people out, most creators out of their click-through earnings, right? Allow Firefox to improve features on by default. These are all things that I could probably go in and just, let's learn more about that. But a lot of these are just fancy ways of saying, give us more information. The Honey Downfall was very fun to watch. It really was. So I don't bother sending daily usage to Mozilla. I don't bother automatically sending crash reports. There's Firefox Labs if you're the type of person that wants all sorts of fun, weird, new, cutting-edge shit enabled. But cutting edge is too reckless for me. That's so much better than sugar. Oh, geez. About Firefox, I automatically install updates. I remember growing up in a world where it was like, don't ever install updates, they're the worst. But nowadays, you really, really, really should be installing updates the instant they drop, because vulnerabilities, 0 days, are showing up so rapidly, especially now that the clankers are out there looking for stuff. Because they're very good at throwing together information from all over the place and finding patterns. Apparently honey is better than sugar at feeding yeast if you're making bread, so I'm going to be trying that next time I make bread. Sweet deal. You can also set it to check for updates, but you'll choose when to install it. And then, of course, you're more from Mozilla. So extensions and themes. I'm trying to remember what it is that... let's look up Firefox on Wikipedia, because I want to know what they're based in. Oh god, this is terrible. There we go. Developers, releases, standard. Written in C++, JavaScript, HTML, C, Rust, and others. Operating system. Haiku, Linux, macOS, Windows 10. Included with, available in, type, license, website, repository. I'm just going to straight up search for... I think it is just its own thing. Built on the Gecko rendering engine. So it's not Chromium based, and it is one of the only web browsers remaining that is not Chromium based. And dang it, hang on. Chromium, the Chromium projects. Chromium is basically just like the open source code that is what powers Chrome. And much like why would you bother reinventing the wheel, plenty of web browsers just base their browser in Chromium because it is so widely compatible with so many things. Firefox is not that. Firefox has ground up to their whole business to be non-Chromium, and that's part of why I use it, because I want to keep that alive. Just saw it on Mythical Kitchen. I was like, nifty neato. It's all by design. How could you use something else when our thing is just so easy and goes everywhere with you? Well, this is also kind of like, I'm trying to think. It's almost the inverse of how, like, the Catholic Church being like, oh, but look, we have these holidays too. You should just be with the Catholic Church instead of your crazy pagan religions. And it's kind of the inverse, where all the different browsers are like, but look how easy it is. It's basically Chrome, except it's not Chrome. And we don't track you as much as Chrome does. Chrome is effectively, if this was the early to mid 2000s or like the late 90s, Chrome would have been called spyware. That's effectively what it is. And it uses so much RAM. So much RAM. Why? You don't need to. Chrome is Christianity, basically. So we're going to minimize Firefox for now. When it comes to Chromium-based browsers, if you've got to use Chromium, sometimes you can't get around it. It's like back in the day, there used to be certain things where you're like, no, I have to run this in Internet Explorer. It doesn't run in anything else. That's effectively where we're at now, except your options are Chromium and not Chromium. Uses so much RAM because they're using your computer to mine. It's true. Chromium-based web browsers. Allow me to introduce you to two. I'll go with the lighter of the two first, which is Brave. The Brave browser. Not actually confirmed by me, but it could be true. There are testing websites that only work on Chrome, and it is such a buzzkill. 1 tab on Chrome is equal to 4 Firefox tabs. Oh, easily. Brave is one of the easiest for me to recommend to folks that I just want something that works. That's all I want. If I was going to recommend a browser to my parents, I'm not explaining to them the ins and outs of Firefox and why certain things probably aren't going to work and that they've got to go in and change a bunch of settings and whatnot. Not worth it. No, hide the VPN card. I haven't touched most of the settings in Brave yet. So there's a lot of things built into this that are they advertise things. You can shut a lot of that off. But the one thing that Brave does really, really well is ad blocking. The ad blocker that Brave has built into the browser is good enough that Firefox effectively ripped it and installed it in the latest version of Firefox. For those that aren't aware, Chrome recently, I say recently, it's probably a few months ago now, made it so that uBlock Origin, one of the top extensions for ad blocking, is no longer going to work with Chrome. And their whole reasoning behind this, okay, couch cuddle time, going AFK, love you all, you're welcome for stream, so dang good, man, I love the new format so much, thank you so much, and duty cycles, good night crowbars, enjoy your couch cuddles time. So yeah, Brave is incredibly easy to recommend. It has a lot of stuff enabled by default, but its ad blocker is one of the best straight out the gate. So like if we go to IGN.com, a website that is normally littered with ads, you'll notice that there's news here. And which one is it? Is this one? Brave Shield. Brave Shield will tell you Shield is up, 19 trackers, ads, and more are blocked. And you can turn shields off. So if I turn shields off for IGN, let's see what it loads. All right, we've got Infinity Nikki at the top. Got another ad chunk on the side here. Does anyone have any recommendations? IGN has new, I know, right? Hero Wars, Cadillac Lyric. There's just so much crap what to stream this month. I don't know if that's an ad or if that's... Because they also have these things called chum boxes, which is effectively... If you've ever seen those boxes that are those like chunks of a website at near the bottom of the page usually, that has a bunch of articles that are just like super clickbait. They're chum boxes. It's like chumming the waters for sharks. It's just putting a bunch of clickbait stuff of like someone's going to click on something here. Curious how shit my old news sources for Twig have gotten. Game Rant, Polygon, iDeck. I don't even know anymore. I thought iDeck was going to be a thing. All right, let's hang on. Let me put shields back on because I'm a little curious if that's a chum box or if that's actually a section on what to stream. All right, that's a... Or it's just embedded, but it's probably an IGN article. Let me check out Game Rant. We're going to search it. Brave has its own search engine, by the way. So if you're switching your browser to Brave, you also get Brave Search, which is kind of cool. There are some downsides to Brave, which I'll get into in a minute, but for right now, I really want to just emphasize the ad blocking capabilities that are the Brave browser. I haven't tested Brave on platforms like Twitch and YouTube when you don't have a premium account on either of them. So I don't know if it's capable of blocking ads for non-premium YouTube accounts. You know what? We're about to find out, actually. Because I'm not signed into YouTube on this. Try searching to get started. Let's look up... equals 3. No? Alright, well. Philip DeFranco? That's your boy. I want to find something much earlier, though. Videos. Oldest. I'm gonna go ahead and mute that, but no pre-roll ad. It doesn't look like there's any ads going on. I'm gonna skip around a little bit, and we're gonna hop to some other videos, and I want to see if an ad does come up. I'm looking for pre-roll ads in particular. No pre-roll ad. No pre-roll ad. No pre-roll ad. One of the things that both YouTube and Twitch have started doing is embedding their ad feeds into the same stream that the videos come from. Oh no. Yeah. I see one's coming up. Until it starts, we're just going to keep clicking on videos and see if we get any pre-roll ads at all. So, a testament to the quality of the ad blocking. And look at this. 77 trackers, ads, and more blocked. Looks like we have signal interruption incoming. And eventually I'm going to get some sort of a tie-in to take over the stream as well. But there's only so many hours in a day and so many days in a week, my dudes. Alright, it looks like we're in the clear. Have we got everyone back? Are y'all really there? Oh, I like Polygon, though. Okay, so Game Rant, here's where we're at. Game Rant has 11 trackers and ads blocked. This is what it looks like with Brave Ad Blocker enabled. Pretty straightforward. If I turn shields off, the page will reload. Also, it takes longer to load because it's loading ads. See if we've gotten much worse. Actually doesn't look like it. Me back. Absolutely insane world we live in. Splatoon Raiders. Oh, don't get me distracted with all these. Yeah, honestly, Game Rant doesn't look all that bad with the shields down. Let's check out Polygon. See what they look like with this is with shields up. So we've got the articles, we've got the list of the latest guides. I don't like that they have a whole Fortnite section. Why? Why? Just bring me back to Polygon. And if we shut the shields off, shields down. Oh, ad. My god, why? We got a little video pop-up that's going to follow you throughout the whole thing. With this little, like, ad pop-up here with the teeny tiny little X we get rid of. I hate ads that, like, follow you down the page as you're scrolling. Or, like, those videos that autoplay, and you're like, I'm scrolling away from you, and it's like, oh no, here I am. So, I mean, not terrible. But I would still shields up. 11 trackers and whatnot. And this is also blocking, like, cross-site tracking. But this is why I find it so easy to recommend Brave to people, because it does so much of the heavy lifting for you. The main issues and downfalls I find with Brave, and honestly with a lot of browsers that you, upon first install, are going to have this like weird home screen. No, I don't want Brave News. I don't want rewards. I want cards shut off entirely. There's so much of this that I don't like. And that is going to be a go into settings. The other thing, other than the ads and whatnot, there's two major issues I have with Brave. And they may not be issues for you. One is, last I checked, the head of Brave, the CEO or whoever that created Brave in the first place, was a former Mozilla employee. To my understanding. Let me actually double check that. Brave CEO. Brendan Ike. Wikipedia. Dark mode, please. American computer programmer. He created the JavaScript programming language and co-founded the Mozilla Project, Mozilla Foundation, and Mozilla Corporation. He served Mozilla Corporation's Chief Technical Officer before he was appointed Chief Executive Officer, but resigned shortly after his appointment due to pressure over his opposition to same-sex marriage. That is one of the reasons why I can't super recommend Brave, but it's a better alternative to Chrome. The other reason in our settings is its big push with Web 3. You'll notice up here in the upper right, we've got a wallet. Brave Wallet is automatically built into the web browser for all of your cryptocurrency and crypto exchange needs. Brave runs an interesting type of cryptocurrency as well. And it's this guy right here, Brave Rewards. You can voluntarily enable ads in your browser, and those ads give you these little tokens, which are a cryptocurrency, and you can tip those tokens. Like, as you're browsing around, any site that has this feature and function enabled, like say you're watching a YouTube video and it's one of your favorite creators, you can choose to use these tokens to give them a tip, which, I mean, is the equivalent of throwing a few pennies around, but it's still real money, but you're not, no one's getting rich on that, and it is still crypto. So, like, be aware of that going into it. They have their own AI, Leo AI. I don't know enough about it to know anything about it. There are things in here like NFT discovery, Brave Wallet for private windows, a bunch of stuff that I'm just not messing with because I don't use a lot of Web3 features and functionality. But if I could listen to YouTube ad-free within my browser on my phone and turn on my screen off and it still plays, or navigate away and it still plays, then I'd be sold specifically for that reason. I got a Brave Wallet right here. My God. Well, I'm adding that into the list of euphemisms. Thank you for that. This is my Brave Wallet. Privacy and security, same idea as with any other browser. You're gonna want to go through here and find this, that, and whatever as far as things. Sending a do not track request, we're going to turn that on. Enabling do not track means the request will be included with your browsing traffic. That's basically saying you're providing them more information. I'm providing them with the more information of please don't track my shit. Block Microsoft Recall, I appreciate so much that that is enabled by default. For anyone not familiar with Microsoft Recall is a service that Microsoft rolled out, then immediately rolled back, and then probably sneakily rolled back out. Why they called it Recall is just that everyone over at Microsoft, I feel like there was a notebook some jokester put together that someone else found and took way too seriously. That was like, we should make a browser and call it Edge. That way you can edge on the internet. Hey, we should make a service that takes a screenshot of your computer every couple of seconds to couple of minutes. That way, if you ever forgot what you did, like this over the weekend, and you want to remember You can just search the local AI and ask Copilot, and it'll go through all these screenshots it took of everything that you did. It's totally, we'll call it recall, which makes it very hard to search Microsoft Recall. Like, what did they recall and why? Some Tom Cruise fan. Prevent sites from fingerprinting me based on my language preferences. Auto redirect tracking URLs. Bypassing top level redirect tracking URLs. That's nice. Auto redirect AMP pages. There's a lot of stuff in here that's just settings beyond what I normally use. Oh yeah, it also does have Tor by default. So if I were to open a private window, new private window with Tor. Currently disconnected. It has to connect to the Tor network, which takes a minute because remember this is a 3-hop. Oh, and of course Malwarebytes blocks it. We're going to allow. I understand. Tor connected. So now it's routing through those 3 hops. Privacy window with Tor. Brave doesn't store browsing activity from private windows. With Tor connectivity, it becomes more difficult for sites to see your true IP address. They explain it a little bit down here. And then from here to Static's point, you can just browse the ClearNet. I see. That's a bad example, I guess. You can just browse the ClearNet using the Tor network. Yeah, you're going to get this a lot too. Because of the way that Tor is routing things and website security and whatnot now. It's probably not good, honestly, to bother browsing the free web, the clear web with Tor. Because anything that's got like malicious detection and whatnot going on the other end is going to be like, this is sketchy. They're even doing that with such, with some VPNs now. Which is such an insane thing to do. What about hospitals and schools? Privacy laws? Hello? Yeah, see, the sad thing is HIPAA. HIPAA. What does the P stand for? Spoiler alert, it's portability, not privacy. Volunteer to help others connect to the Tor network, so you can choose to have yours PC be one of those hops. Data collection. Automatically send daily usage to Brave. No thank you. These are the things you're going to have to comb through, because they're going to have a lot of things that are pulling telemetry off of you, pulling that information off of you so they can build the advertisement profile. This is the same with any browser that you go into. You're likely going to have to shut that stuff off. Save for LibreWolf because it is stripped down and everything shut off by default. That being said, this has been Brave. We are now going to hop out of Brave and migrate over to the last browser I have on my list of recommends, Vivaldi. This was one of the first websites I found that is how Vivaldi advertised itself. It is a ridiculous means of advertising. Because if you go to onlyfjords.com, it won't let you see them without having a Vivaldi account. And that caused me to do some looking into Vivaldi, who they are, what they do. Well, the portability is you can't share this with someone. Oh, hang on. I felt like I just got stabbed in the hand with something. Unless that patient gives you express permission to. Yeah, it could be improved upon. There is a lot involved with HIPAA that is privacy oriented. Just, I think people think it's more private than it is. Oh no, someone has your voodoo doll. It's true, somebody does. It's probably Chrome. Anyway, Only Fjords. I was going through this. That's exactly what it is. It's Only Fjords. Beautiful pictures. And I'm trying to remember where. And I have like I need the about. love the fucking Wet and Wild, Rock Solid, Massive Fjords, International. Not account. Let me log out. Yes, I want to log out. Thank you. Vivaldi. Poll of the week. I want to know more about Vivaldi is the thing. The only web browser powerful enough for you? That's cute. The whole thing was like about privacy and simplicity when I initially found it. And I will say that Vivaldi has some of the most robust settings that I've ever seen in a browser. And it has the sidebar over here, which anyone who's ever used Opera or Opera GX specifically will know the sidebar that can pull up essentially app versions of websites. Incredibly useful for things like if you want your Twitter feed in the side. Daddy likey some vertical tabs. No, this isn't vertical tabs. This isn't vertical tabs. This is your sidebar with your apps. Ratrana, you're a monster. Some people are monsters, like Ratrana, and they put their tabs in a stack on the side. Creepy links is so funny. Yeah, Ratrana is actually also to blame for creepy links, for me knowing what creepy links is, because it's not something I used until I think it was a different coworker messaged me with a creepy link. I think because Ratrana had brought it up, and I was like, that's so Ratrana coded. And they were like, oh, yeah. Could not do vertical tabs. There is something about the left and right sides of the screen that just goes into my doesn't exist space in my brain. Honestly, spatially, because as someone who grew up on computers that were in a 4:3 format, it makes more logical sense if I'm taking up my whole screen to have a side of the screen taken up by tabs rather than the top of my screen. Because this is eventually going to run out of space and compress and maybe double layer. But also, I'm going to share with you a secret. I don't generally have a lot of tabs open. I'm just not that kind of person. When you open a document and it opens the whole thing, chapters on the left, literally will take an hour to notice. Vivaldi. We are going to go into our settings, which is right here. There's a bunch of other stuff in here too. Like, I'm not used to seeing these file edit and all that jazz. Bookmarks are in here. Tools. Vivaldi also has the built-in bonus of having a VPN built into it that is Proton VPN, as opposed to their own VPN. And I'm a huge fanboy for Proton, so that's a big plus for me. We're going to get into extensions here in a minute, but first let's go over Vivaldi's settings. Look at all these settings. Look at them all. And they're nicely categorized and by color. You got your sync settings, which I do actually have a thing, and with sync all data on, I'll worry about that later. I don't mainline Vivaldi, so I'm less than concerned about my current settings for it. But so many different things that you can do in this. There's also, is it this one? Keyboard, mouse, gestures. So one of the big things I really liked with Vivaldi is this gestures feature. So this is just like a click and perform a gesture with your mouse. Let's see, new tab, new background tab. Hold down, oh, right mouse button, that's why. So I can just open new tabs by right-click and drag down, right-click and drag down. And it feels a little bit like spellcasting. If this was like on an iPad or some sort of a touch dealio, rely on browser tabs as an ADHD medication. Bro, same. And now there are groups. Yeah, there are groups. If I want to reload a page, it's just up, down. And then page reload. Up, down. Page reloads. So this is really cool, and I would love to go through it and learn it, because gesture-based navigation feels so good. I don't know anyone, if anyone's using like gesture-based navigation for your Android phone, I don't know if that's just a Pixel thing or if it's across Android phones, but it's so good. And I don't know how I ever worked with just the like physical back button and whatnot. Wild. Privacy and security. Enable Proton VPN. Proton will let you have a free VPN. I use it for iOS. Oh, the gesture-based? I think I've trained myself in the last 25 years. Oh my god, 25 years of internet making my bookmarks work for me. So unless I actively need a tab, I tend to just close them. Yeah, no, that's exactly where I'm at. That's why exporting my bookmarks as an HTML is so crucial to me. So that I can have... Hang on, get out of here. Did I even import them into Firefox? I'm pretty sure I did. Manage my bookmarks. Toolbar. Yeah, they're all there. I think I'm just not showing my bookmarks toolbar right now. Oh. Yeah, it doesn't live there forever. It's just when I'm navigating. Reading stuff. But yeah, having something like this, because otherwise I just have tabs wide open for all the like hacker-related tools. OWASP, try hack me, hack the box. Just there's so much crap in here that I'll go through it at some point, but I don't need to be wasting RAM on it. Education, OSINT, free resources, my homebrew stuff, virus total, great. Oh, let's check out if AI is profitable yet. I mean, since we're getting, oh nope, everyone's broke. Oh god, I think it's probably still that Nvidia is the only one on paper making money. Yeah. And let's be real, a lot of that is just cooked books. Because these guys provide the GPUs that the rest of these guys are losing money on. Tab groups are just bookmark folders in your RAM. I don't want my shit to live in RAM, though. That's my problem. Because then it's gone if I close everything. I don't need my browser having that kind of persistence. Cannot wait until this shit blows up. Same. I really like Cory Doctorow's take on when the AI bubble finally bursts, we are going to have all these GPUs, these heavy-duty GPUs that were being used in data centers that are not going to be used for data centers, and they're going to have to sell them off. And you're going to be able to get high-end GPUs for frickin' pennies on the dollar. And we're going to have all these LLMs that are just poorly optimized. And if we open source it, then, you know, people can optimize them with their newly found GPUs. And we could have potentially a whole boon of really actually good local AI models. Because there are some really good uses. It just, they haven't really been put to that use. And we talked about that a little bit during our week of gaslighting AI. Lifeless, weird, shiny, weirdly 3D in a 2D space, lit from all sides. Also, so yeah, privacy and security. There's all sorts of stuff going on here in Vivaldi. This is another one that I think is really easy for me to recommend, especially if you need Chrome functionality. I think both Vivaldi and Brave. Let me bring up YouTube and see if it's a thing that's built in or not. I might have disabled it. The School Bop. Nope, I need you to mute, thank you. Okay, yeah, there is a picture-in-picture mode. Can I drag you somewhere, please? Thank you. It popped up behind my webcam feed, but like, so you can just keep that there. And now I've got a little video that's playing, and I can resize it, and I can drag it around. I don't like the things that I'm seeing. But yeah, it does a picture-in-picture type deal. I can close out of that, and it goes back to being in the browser. But yeah, I know Vivaldi does that. I'm pretty sure Brave does that. There's a lot of really neat stuff you can do. But again, go through your settings, check things out. Themes, where am I looking? It might be its own thing, actually. Edit, view. Had to pick the, Nope. Extensions. So let's talk about extensions, because extensions exist regardless of which browser you're using, whether that's Firefox, LibreWolf, Brave, Vivaldi, some other web browser. Which before we're completely off the topic, and I can jump into it a little bit more if you want, but there are a handful of web browsers I would recommend avoiding at all costs, like they are the plague. One being Chrome, because it is basically just branded spyware. I don't trust it, I don't like it, and it uses way too much RAM for what it is. And Opera GX. I have a tendency not to trust a browser if I'm watching any random YouTuber and they do an ad read for that browser. Same idea with VPN services and services that delete your private data. For a couple of reasons. One, especially with services like Delete Me. Services like Delete Me require you to give them a significant amount of personal information, because that is what they are using to search the internet for your personal information. You have things like your full legal name, any previous names, previous nicknames, every phone number you can possibly remember ever having, every address you have lived at, family members, your relationship to those family members, email addresses, all of that stuff, but they delete it after. Sure, unless you have them checking on a monthly basis. So all of that's getting put into a database somewhere. Oh, I see your sarcasm, fear not. And if I'm going to give over, which I do, I use one of those services, but it's not Delete Me. And it's not Incogni. Those are the two that I see advertised by YouTubers. Because if it's being advertised by YouTubers, that company has an ad budget, which ad budgets are generally not small. People don't do ad reads for money that's not going to help pay the bills. And also now everyone that watches YouTube knows about Delete Me and Incogni, including the types of people who would really, really love to breach those databases and have so much personal information. That's why the service that I use isn't one that I see advertised. And it's also highly rated, so I'm good with that. Feel free to hit me up on Discord if you want to know who I'm using. When it comes to extensions, there are only a handful that I actively use, and only a handful that I can recommend. The Google Analytics opt-out and add-on is debatable. This is intended to tell Google Analytics, don't send information to Google Analytics about me. But it's a plugin by Google to tell Google not to track your shit. I don't know how much this can be trusted. I have it in Vivaldi because that's where I was messing around with it. I don't believe I have that in my Firefox. Let's actually see what I've got for extensions in Firefox. Yeah. So there are effectively 4 types of extensions that I would recommend. 2 specific extensions and then 2 types. The specific extensions that if you're not running and don't have installed, I highly recommend getting is Privacy Badger. This is a tool that is built by the Electronic Frontier Foundation to maintain your privacy as you browse about the internet. I won't get super into it because I don't even know the entire scope. Aw. My Privacy Badger automatically learns to block hidden trackers. Yeah, it's made by EFF. Sends the global privacy control signal to opt you out of data sharing and selling, and the do not track signal to tell companies not to track you. If trackers ignore these signals, Privacy Badger will learn to block them. EFF is incredible at the things that they do, and the fact that they have built this and put it out as a free tool, I think speaks volumes to their commitment. Back to uBlock Origin, my absolute favorite ad blocker, which does now pair with, as I'd mentioned, Firefox pulled the web browser-based ad blocking that Brave is using. So Firefox is essentially matching that now. Firefox did that in a nearly silent update. Just like, yeah, we're actually gonna use that because that's a really good idea. But I still run uBlock Origin. This is like, if you go into privacy circles on Reddit or almost anywhere, uBlock is the gold standard for ad blocker. And then the other two that I'm using, which are the types that I would recommend, is a VPN. I pay for Proton, so I have the paid version of their VPN. There is a free version. It's not as fast, and you don't get to select where you want it to be located, but it does work. The great thing with a Proton VPN is they don't save any of the browsing information. If you recall earlier when we had our little education session about how things bounce, your information goes to your VPN, then to the internet, back to the VPN, back to you, and they are the go-between. Proton doesn't store any of that, so that if they are ever subpoenaed by law enforcement, they don't have records to give them if they wanted. It accidentally puts you in North Korea and every website is banned. Oh, that'd be wild. I don't think there are any in, we're gonna find out, actually. I don't want to connect. New Zealand, Netherlands, Nepal, Norway. It's not under, like, Korea North, is it? No. They also probably don't have VPN servers in every country. It would be crazy if there were. Yeah, that'd be something. I don't know if I would trust connecting to that. And the other one is a password manager. The two big players in the password game, as far as I'm concerned. Proton Pass, I recommend this for personal use because they have a free version, so you can have a free Proton Pass account with your Proton email address. You can store essentially an unlimited number of passwords, but you can't sort them into vaults. They're just kind of all going to be in one vault together. Again, I pay money to Proton, so I am a little bit biased, but I also find them incredibly worth what I pay for them. Do I want to hear a scary story? You know I do. I'm going to finish my bit on this, and then I'll get into your scary story, though. But yeah, I do want to hear a scary story. Get a password manager, for the love of all that is holy. Proton Pass and Bitwarden are the two that I can highly recommend. Bitwarden tends to be one of, like, the standards for large corporations, municipalities, anything in the corporate environment. You can use them for personal. I know some people that do. I personally prefer Proton Pass, but Proton Pass isn't necessarily something I would yet recommend if you're like, I need for my company to have a password store. I would say go Bitwarden all the way. Damn it. Okay, Retrana just bodied my scary story. I use Chrome to store my passwords. How to ban someone from Twitch chat. How do I ban someone from my inbox? Jumps out of a dark alley yelling about 1FA? Oh, Jesus. Okay, so not only do I have Firefox save all my passwords, but I also have half of them physically written down in a notebook, and I have them in a huge note on my Notes app on my phone. That is the reason that you should have a password manager. How do I ban my friend from life? Get a password manager, please, for the love of all that is holy. I mean, to be completely honest with you, physically writing them down, like if you have a password journal, because they make those, if you're that type of person, that's still better than having them in a notepad file. Put them in a password manager. Proton Pass, you can get for free. It installs as a friggin' little extension up here. You can install it as an app on your phone. Suddenly, your passwords are everywhere. And not the free version, but if you end up with a paid version for whatever reason, it can also manage all your two-factor. So it has all the generated codes in there. Then you only have to worry about the one master password or your Proton Pass or your Bitwarden or whatever you're using. But if you're not using Proton or Bitwarden, I recommend doing your own research into whoever you're getting into, because there has been, I think, it was either 1Pass or LastPass. one of the two of them that had like a major data breach, that's a problem. It's a big problem. There's a reason Proton end-to-end encrypts everything. So even if an attacker gets in, none of that information is in clear text. I used to be like that, dog. Gotta tell you, having a password manager is lit. It's really hard to try and get people on board with for some reason, and I don't understand why. Like, we have a guy that I work with that, like, all of our clients' passwords and our, like, company passwords and whatnot exist in a text document on his desktop, not password protected. And it's like, bro, I get that we're not a big company, but bro, stop. Just stop it. Get help. Especially because we now have company-wide Bitwarden accounts. Just use a password manager. They are a little bit of a hassle to set up in the first place. It's a long-term little piece at a time solution. Don't look at it as I need to migrate everything over to my Proton Pass. At least use a Word doc. You can't just say things. You can't just go stand in the corner. But it is a little bit of annoying to set up in the first place. You gotta take all the passwords you have and put them all in there. And if you're like me, before a password manager, most of your passwords were the same or a variation on the same thing. So they're all kind of the same thing. Maybe after a decade, you will finally convince me, but I can't guarantee I can change my ways. Ra, I will tell you right now, if we can get you through the moving everything into it, you're going to be absolutely blown away by how easy everything else in your life becomes. Hang on. I'm going to pull this off screen for a second so that I can not dox myself. Or not expose my passwords, I should say. No. Cool. Let's see. Alias. And then I'm gonna, from here, create new login. There we go. That way it's not, like, giving you anything super pertinent. Okay. So, all the stuff you're seeing on the left here is just aliases. Let me bring this back where it's actually, like, visible to everyone. Our aliases. So let's say, all right, well, I just went to a new website and you want to come over to my house and do it? Because, like, I've had a dirty waffle maker on my countertop since last spring. You want to know how good I am at dealing with things? I will, actually. If that's what it would take to get you to set up a password manager, I will happily drive all the way down there and spend an afternoon into the evening just chilling with you, and we'll get everything moved over, and your life will be better for it. Dead ass. But, like, making a new login for things, first off, you can do logins, aliases, cards, notes. You can have notes encrypted and stored in here. Your ID, other stuff, passwords, so on and so forth. But, like, go to do a login, and this is just like new site. This is my new site, and I'm making a new login right now. Email or username? Check this guy out. This little dude generates an alias. I click go, and it's about to create new site.8b0ng at simplelogin.com. If I click confirm, it makes that, and that is going to redirect to my regular email. Passwords. Gotta enter a password. How about random generate me a password? I have it set to memorable, so it's just doing strings of, what is this, 5 words? Yeah, 5 words with capitals and numbers and dashes. This is a passphrase, and you can just cycle that. No 2 passwords are the same ever again. Because of the alias, no 2 email addresses are the same either. What's great about that, like, I have an alias here for gamedev.tv. If I get an email about something that I bought from Lowe's and it's been sent to gamedev.tv DNJDT at simple login. I know exactly what service was breached that they got that email from. It's not quite the same. Like, they've gotten wise to the plus something else at the end of Gmails. But you can just copy that password right from there and put it into your thing, into your login box. Yes. Not only can you just copy it from here. Hang on, I'm going to drag this off again so I can see about finding a good example. Let's see. What is something that I can go to? I'm not going to create that login. We're going to discard it. Imble maybe? Let me see if it'll let me. Yeah, okay, so I'm not logged in on Humble Bundle. Yeah, that's fine. We're just gonna pop this back over here. So I'm on a Humble Bundle. I have an account at Humble Bundle. I want to log in. So I come over here and it says log in. You'll notice I've got my burner email address. I just click on that because the URL for Humble Bundle was added when I made the account. So anytime it sees that domain name, it's going, this is the account for that. I click on it, boom, filled in. Log in. Needs a 2-factor. Okay. Boom. Copied. Pasted. Done. It is that simple. Now I'm in. Ba-ba-da-da. And that's why it's been absolutely world-changing. Because again, I now no longer have... I have a different email for every service, and I have a different password for every service. So I shouldn't have to pull up my phone 500 times a day. Because I'm already doing that for work things, and it's actually ridiculous. Yeah, no, correct. Anywhere that you have this logged in, you can just, boop, there it is. Boop, there it is. The only time I have to pull out my phone is if I'm on, say I'm on a work device that I'm not logged into my Proton Pass with. Then I'll pull it up on my phone and manually type it. The great thing about Proton having a free version is for the longest time before we had a password manager where I work, I had made a Proton Pass account using my work account, my work email. And I would just put in that things I used for work, like my Microsoft login, so on and so forth. That way on my work PC, I'm like, oh no, I gotta log into my Microsoft, and I just click it and boom, there it is. Oh no, I gotta log into this work software. Click, boom, there it is. Boom, easy. It's so good. AccuPlacer changed things, and now at random I will have to get a code to my email. So if I'm logging in for a student, I have to go, oh, sorry, hold on, let me go check my fucking email so I can let you in. I hate that. There are some places that are some services that are doing specifically using email as 2FA, which is better than using your text as a 2FA. Phone numbers should not be used for that. Phone numbers were not meant to be identities. Stop that. I don't ever 2FA over text if I don't have to. If you give, like, any 2FA is better than nothing. But by God, please don't make me 2FA via text. SIM swapping is too easy. No, especially not when anything can be spoofed so easily. Exactly. Most phone carriers now, you can get a PIN set up so that in order to swap to a new phone and move your SIM around or transfer your number, you need to provide that PIN, which does help, but I still wouldn't use phone numbers as a form of identification. That's so dumb. Good luck with SIM pins. Is that a good luck to those of us trying to protect things with SIM pins, or a good luck to those trying to SIM swap with SIM pins? Yeah, no, you're right, because humans are still the weakest link. And AI is not even fixing that, because you can gaslight the shit out of it. And by asking them if might gain smart boy pants with IT. It's a good idea. Also, I get no service on work, so, like, not helpful. Yeah, no, I absolutely... What P-Bub said, ask your IT if they already offer one. Because also... Two things that I would like to add to that. I see you can't read yellow again. No, it's not that I can't read yellow. I just assume that it's probably thoughts that were already in my brain. So if you have to use it at work a lot, it's worth asking your workplace. Yeah. And as we found out, if your workplace, at least with ours, our workplace has Bitwarden, and because we use it for the company, anyone that works for the company is also offered a free account, like a free paid account for personal use on Bitwarden. And I assume that's under terms and conditions of like, as long as you work within that company, as soon as you leave the company, you know, you have to start paying for it on your own or bump it back to a free tier. But like having a service like that is at the level of a paid service that you can use for personal use as well is incredible to me. Especially where like in your position, you've been holding your job for quite some time and likely have no intentions of just up and hitting the dirt road at any point. You know what I mean? Worth looking into, really worth looking into. And where you work in education, if that's not something that your IT currently offers, recommend Bitwarden to them. Again, because that's what I would recommend for massive organizations. Also works really well if, say, like Suzanne across the office needs a password for something or a note that you stored in your password manager, and it's like, it's fine to share that account, but now what are you going to do? You're going to send that password over email, Teams, Slack, text message? No. Terrible idea. If you both have Bitwarden or Proton, you can just like, oh, hang on, let me just share that with you. And then it's encrypted, and it's paper airplane. Oh, you got me there. Sir, there's been a second paper airplane. It has the 2-factor. But yeah, these are my 4 recommendations as far as extensions go. If you're installing extensions for things, please be careful. We found with Honey that a lot, even like stuff that's a big name that people are advertising for, can't be trusted. Know who you're installing apps from. That's why, or installing extensions from. That's why I use these. They hit the second password. And then lastly, if you're anyone on mobile, I broke my web browser. I've broken the Firefox, and I'm so sorry. Let's just get Vivaldi out of here. Maybe it's jealous. Okay, or I just bricked it. That's fine too. I took too long. Yep, there goes the music. And we'll relaunch it in a minute. But what I was going to say, mobile web browser. As far as mobile web browsers go, I am essentially in the same boat of my recommendations are Firefox, Vivaldi, Brave, because all 3 of those have mobile versions and apps that you can install. All right, we're just going to close out of you. Close it. Kill it. Because all of those have mobile versions. Unfortunately, LibreWolf does not have a mobile app version. But Firefox also has Firefox Focus, which is my mobile default browser. Because Firefox Focus is essentially Firefox with amnesia. At the instant you close the app, your search history, everything you've done, anything you've logged into, all your cookies, everything gone. They hit the second. BRB, gotta pee. We will BRH. I'm going to hold off until you're back to get into this next bit, because this is going to be important. This will be on the exam, which you are going to proctor. I did actually forget until just now. So we're going to, one of these days, I am going to remember that I was going to hop into the third place voice chat on our Discord.
Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper, Flame Grill taste with perfect toppers. I rule this day. Lettuce, mayo, pickle, ketchup, it's okay if I don't want that. If also full of bacon, Whopper, any Whopper, my way, Whopper, my way.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I appreciate a good Whopper. Yeah, I'm hopping in the voice chat on the Discord if anyone wants to pop into the third place. The third place voice. You don't have to. Let me actually make sure that that what I'm looking for. Let's go to cyberspace. Of course, I don't have cyberspace online in my privacy and security. Enhanced tracking protection, brandage exceptions. Cyberspace.online allow. Huh. Well, hang on, because this will just show my everything. Boop, boop. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Huh. Oh, you know what would also be useful is having our music back. Back to chill synth. There we go. Ah, sorry. I'm sorry. EBSM I found has been the like Night City radio if I want to feel like I'm in a cyberpunk vibe. Horror synth will be what I'm putting on, you know, next month as we get into spoopy season. Let's see. Let me pull back up Vivaldi. Because I want to know if Vivaldi does it. Because I don't know that Firefox does. Let's see. Cyberspace online. Which is good, because I said I was going to talk about a little bit about cyberspace at the end of the stream if we had time. Now I just need to find where it is. Okay, I'm back. Sweet. Are we just not... I'm actually not finding the option that I'm looking for. So that's something. I don't think LibreWolf had it. Let's check Brave. Because I know it works on Windows because I've done it before. Extensions. Nope, that's not helpful at all. A pee-pee turns into a poo-poo before you know it. It's so true. Okay, well, great news. I haven't actually been able to find the thing that I'm looking for. So normally, hop into your web browser. Not going to be on a profile. It might be because I've locked something down. Under More Tools, Normally you'll find a like install web page as an app. Maybe I just can't do it with cyberspace. Let's try Space Hey. Can I install you as an app? Not something that works super well on desktop or has much real application on desktop. Also not related, but since the image is up there, I want to play Ocopia so bad. Ugh. She do make it look so fun. Well, I don't have any sort of an emulator set up presently to be able to bring up like my phone as a viewable screen. But I'll describe to you on my phone. So let's say you're using Firefox as your web browser for your phone. And in Firefox, bear with me, because now it's going to be one of these things that they're like, oh, we actually removed this function just because you wanted to talk about it. Let me open Cyberspace Online. Find page, desktop site, extensions, more. Okay. It's under the more options. That is also my curse, so I understand. The minute I'm showing somebody how to do something, it suddenly doesn't work, and I'm all like, okay. So yeah, in your settings on your mobile web browser, if you go to a website, say something like cyberspace.online or Space Hey, MySpace, even things like Facebook, if you use Facebook, but you don't want to use the app, and you go to the options on your mobile web browser, and in Firefox it's under more, there's usually an option for add app to home screen. And if you click on that, what it does is it essentially makes the website itself look like an app by stripping out this top section with the URL bar and everything. So it's just the website itself. And it'll put a little icon with the little favicon dealio, which of course you can't see on here. This little guy. So like the logo or the icon for cyberspace becomes the icon for the app. You can name it whatever you want, but then clicking on that app in your phone opens up the web browser and brings it to you that way. So you'd be getting, say, Facebook in your web browser. The plus side there is that apps can get very invasive, whereas your web browser, you can have uBlock Origin and Privacy Badger installed. And it's a web browser, so you know a lot of the settings for your web browser and what information can and cannot be gleaned. Like, obviously, if you're doing this for Facebook, anything you put on your Facebook account is still, you know, that's all free game for Facebook as far as they're concerned. But apps have the ability to do things like, what other apps are installed on your phone? When did you last use them? Is your phone moving right now? What's your GPS location? Can I activate your microphone? Your camera? What other things are you looking at? As you're scrolling through your timeline or your feed, what are you stopping to look at? What are you pausing on? What are you know, that all that kind of stuff that an app can track, but your browser won't? Just saying. Web apps is where it's at. Now, since we are here, let me first off put this back to Matrix so it looks proper. Alright, let me catch up on chat real quick. Also, not related. Alright, so my curse, the minute I'm... Yep, you can kind of do that in iOS with most websites, but it is just a shortcut to the website, which is still nice for some sites. You can also clear the cache on your browser, and guess what you can't do on apparently most apps? I have movement on my watch, and the other day I shot my arms up to stretch, and it went, great job standing up. And I was like, you fool. You have no idea. You don't know me. Yeah, there's too many dang apps that want your accelerometer. Niz. Okay, so the thing I wanted to show you with Cyberspace Online, and this is something that I think Static will probably get super excited for. Retrana maybe. I'm excited about. Maybe P-Bubs. Hard to tell. Mostly because this is... Genghis Khan's been working on this terminal, where if you click on it, my god, the sounds. Yeah, and it gives you essentially a terminal interface. F1 config, so I can go help for commands. It feels like you're hacking a computer in the Fallout universe. Fortune, print a random adage. Control Shift up and down scrolls the screen. Browse, read and install programs. Cat, print a file to the terminal. Change directory. So a lot of this is like your typical Linux navigation. Open a chat room, clear the screen. Read and write CMail. Actually, I want to see that. I think feed. Yeah, feed is to read the feed. Diet Cuke. We are going to read. The click-clacking is so good. Escape, escape. Yes. Show me the feed. And I can just like arrow key to navigate. It's a fun time. Alright, time to see what this is all about. No replies. CMail, fee, LS, bin, entries, journal. Nothing in here. And those are all my posts. I love the clicky clackies. Bro, same. Oh, I love this so much. Updated my 3DS homebrew for the first time in 3 years yesterday. Gonna see about getting PSX and PSP games to run on it. I got PSX on it. PSP is still a work in progress. Already a powerhouse of a device. If I can get it to let me relive the good days of early PlayStation, I will be unreasonably happy. It's not exit, shut down. Look at that. Mandor hand hook car door. I love this platform so much. I've added it to the list of things that I'm supporting on the monthly, because you can become a supporter. This whole platform is entirely user supported. So no advertisements ever, period. And I'm really hoping that Genghis Khan is like making a decent chunk of change to help offset the cost of this development project, because the number of things that keep improving is insanity to me. Like his whole development on all these different areas for the grid. and just new features, cloud storage and sharing. You can publish to user programs directory, fix songs rendering. And there's something about these old grainy images I love so much. We have a book cover. Ooh. This is not a drill. Huge shout out to Camelia van den Heuvel for her work on this. I'm so sorry I probably butchered that. She absolutely knocked it out of the park on bringing my concept to life. Check out the full illustration here. And I think I will. Yo, that's so cool. Ding dong. I like that. I like that a lot. Anyway, this has been your weekly advertisement for, hey, maybe get on cyberspace. It's so cool, dude. It's so cool. Sarah, you think you are. Don't worry, I've blocked that signal for now. Let's see if I've got any other notes. Settings, things to look for, bookmarks, extensions. We've talked about browsers and what they do. I think I've actually covered all the things that I wanted to cover for web browsers. And I hope we've learned some stuff. I hope we've learned some things about settings and knowing that there's a lot of web browsers out there. A majority of them are Chrome-based or Chromium-based. Just because you use something Chromium-based doesn't mean it's automatically terrible. There's a lot going on in the world of privacy, digital privacy, and cybersecurity. People tend to have an all-or-nothing standpoint, which is garbage. Like, when I hear someone go, hey, I made the decision to leave Google Chrome as my web browser, and now I'm using insert web browser here. One's first response should never be, oh, well, I mean, it's not this, so it's you may as well have not even bothered changing. Like, if someone makes a move to Brave, makes a move to Vivaldi, makes a move to Firefox, I'm not gonna poo-poo all over it because it's not LibreWolf. Every step is a step in the right direction. Every little move towards clawing back some of your privacy is huge. I thought you said Sarah for a second, and I was like, wait, these people don't call me that. I'm glad you could learn a lot. I try to be both fun and educational. Edutainment is what we do here. But again, any little step, and specifically with password managers, don't fall into the trap of feeling like you need to migrate everything over all at once. Don't fall into let's assume that all your accounts are using the same email and they're all using the same password. They're probably not. But even if that was the case, even taking and moving all of those into your password manager is a step in the right direction. And that is absolutely worth celebrating. And then slowly, as time goes on, and you're like, I logged into this account and, well, my password manager's installed. So, like, while I'm here, I'll update that. While I'm here, I'll add two-factor because it can be managed now. While I'm here, I'll use an alias email address. And slowly, over years, it all amounts to something. It's similar to how people are like, oh, well, there's no sense in me, like, getting off of the Facebook now because, like, they already have all of my stuff. Or, like, moving your photos from Google Photos to some other service that's more private and doesn't train AI models on facial recognition from your photos. I mean, yeah, you can take the standpoint of, like, oh, well, they already have all of it. They already know what I look like and who my friends are. There's no sense in pulling it all down. They still know. Yeah, but if you pull it all down tomorrow and you're not uploading to them anymore, tomorrow all the information they have on you is a day old, and then 2 days old, and then a week old, a month, a year, 2 years, a decade. After time, what they have is no longer relevant. And in time, as you're slowly working on migrating things over to be more secure, you're patching holes. You're patching up things that were incredibly insecure, and eventually you get to a point where you're in the same position I'm in, where you're like, I don't use the same email for any 2 accounts. I don't use the same password for any 2 accounts. It doesn't matter what your data is, selling it to the highest bidder is the goal, and no one cares. It is so true. I'll have to post some more fun resources and things that you should look into, but that's my spiel for browsers. Again, I hope everyone learned something. I hope you had a good time hanging out and learning about some things. I'm going to be mainlining Firefox with my own settings edits and just kind of enjoying things from there. This is what's going to keep me, because it has the ability to use stuff in the grid, this is what's going to keep me from having to be in something Chromium based, as opposed to LibreWolf, which is my lockdown. My lockdown search / web browser. It's getting late. My brain is fried. Okay, great. I have nothing to hide, but why should Joe Schmo make money off? I'll say this as my closing piece. It's not about having something to hide. It's that you deserve privacy. We all know what you're doing in the bathroom when you go take a shit. You still close the door because you still deserve privacy. You're not trying to hide anything. You're just being decent. And part of what makes human relationships so magical is having the ability to decide what you share and with whom. You know, when you find that like really good friend or romantic interest, and you get into those moments of like really opening up and sharing parts of yourself that are otherwise private to the world, that kind of deep emotional connection is only possible because of your ability and your right to privacy. And it's important. So, any steps that you can take to get to a place where you're clawing back a little bit of your own privacy, I applaud every step you take. Honestly, really. There's plenty of things that, like, you guys know, you, my friends, that I don't put out there I'm not tweeting about all these things. I'm not tweeting about anything anymore, but you get what I mean. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for being here and taking some time out of your evening to hang out in the third place with everyone. Sleep well. We will see you again next week for the next episode of the third place, where, hear me out, we're going to be discussing zines. E-zines, physical zines, what they are, how they're styled, why they're important. I love zines so much. So if you have any that you like, bring them along with you, and we'll talk about them too. Love you all. Know that you are all loved. Know that you are all important. I will see you next week. Toodle doodle. Hashtag, what are they doing behind the bushes?